Pandas for Personal Finance, Building a Budget Tracker. A complete, standalone tutorial will build 6 months of synthetic transactions, then categorize, summarize, and track savings with Pandas. No prior Pandas experience needed. Let's jump straight in. Running the cell now. Before you start, open a new Jupyter notebook in VS Code and select your Python interpreter as the kernel. If Pandas isn't installed yet, open a terminal in VS Code and run pip install pandas. Running the cell now. Once your kernel is selected, you're ready to go. And if this series is useful to you, subscribing now means the next dataset lands in your feed automatically. Let's dive in. Part 1. Building the dataset. Running the cell now. We import pandas as PD. We also import numpy, which we'll use to generate random transaction amounts. We print the installed pandas version to confirm everything works. Running the cell now. This output confirms the version of the pandas library we're using, which is 2.3.0. Knowing the version ensures compatibility and helps us understand which features are available as we build and manipulate our dataset. It's an important first step to set a reliable foundation for our data work. We'll simulate a realistic mix of income and everyday spending across 6 months, entirely offline, so this notebook runs anywhere. Generating 6 months of transactions. Running the cell now. A seeded random generator, so this budget is exactly reproducible. A dictionary mapping each expense category to a low and high dollar range for a single transaction. Rent is fixed each month. Groceries vary week to week. Utilities vary a bit more. Dining out varies quite a lot. Entertainment too. And transport rounds it out. We print the 6 category names. Running the cell now. Here we see the list of expense categories defined for generating 6 months of transactions. This output confirms the key columns that will categorize each transaction, which is crucial for organizing and analyzing spending patterns later in the lesson. Noticing these categories helps set expectations for the types and ranges of expenses that will be randomly generated. An empty list to collect every transaction. 6-month start dates, 1 per month in our window. We loop over each month, adding a salary deposit on the 1st, and a second one on the 15th, simulating bi-weekly pay, plus a fixed rent payment early in the month, stored as a negative amount since it's money leaving the account. Then pick a random number of extra everyday expenses for that month, and generate each one. Choosing a random non-rent category. Looking up its typical dollar range. A random day within the month. And a random negative amount within that category's range. Appending the finished row. We build a data frame from every row, naming each column. We print the shape, roughly 12 income rows, 6 rent rows, and dozens of everyday expenses, all in one table. Running the cell now. The output, 101, shows the data frame has 101 rows and 4 columns, confirming that the code successfully generated 6 months of detailed transaction data. Notice the consistent columns, date, description, category, and amount, capturing each transaction's key attributes. This aligns with the lesson's goal of simulating realistic, time-stamped financial activity for analysis or modeling. We save it to a CSV file, exactly like an export from a banking app. Then we read it straight back in, parsing the date column as real date times, just like loading any downloaded statement. We sort by date and reset the index, so everything reads in chronological order. Head previews the first 5 rows. Running the cell now. This output shows the first 5 transactions after saving to and reading back from a CSV file, with dates correctly parsed and data sorted chronologically. Notice the mix of income and expense categories, with amounts reflecting positive income and negative expenses. This confirms the code's intent to generate and prepare a clean, time-ordered dataset of 6 months of personal transactions for analysis. Part 2. First look at the data. Running the cell now. Shape reports the total number of transactions and columns. Info shows every column's type and non-null count, nothing is missing here. Running the cell now. This output gives us a quick overview of the dataset size and structure, showing it has 101 rows and 4 columns. The info method confirms all columns have complete data with no missing values and highlights the data types, which is crucial for understanding how to manipulate each column later. This initial inspection helps us ensure the data is clean and ready for analysis. Value_count shows how many transactions fall into each category, income and rent included. Running the cell now. This output shows the count of transactions in each spending category, giving us a quick snapshot of how frequently each category appears in the dataset. Notice that dining out, groceries, and transport all have the highest counts at 18, indicating these are the most common types of transactions. This helps us understand the distribution of spending categories early on, which is essential for further analysis and identifying key areas of expenses. Since income is stored as a positive amount and every expense as negative, a simple condition on the sign tells them apart. Part 3. Income versus expense. Running the cell now. NP.where checks each amount, positive values get labeled income, everything else gets labeled expense, all in one vectorized line. We preview the new type column alongside the original data. Running the cell now. This output shows how the code classifies each transaction as an income or the expense based on whether the amount is positive or negative. Notice the new type column correctly labels positive amounts as income and negative amounts as expense, which sets the stage for analyzing income versus spending patterns in the next steps. LOC filters to income rows only, then we sum their amounts. The same pattern, filtered to expenses, which are already negative, so this sum comes out negative too. We print total income, formatted with a 1000 separator. We print total expenses. Adding the two together, since expenses are already negative, gives the overall 6-month net. Running the cell now. This output summarizes the total income and expenses from the transactions dataset, showing $47,868.95 earned and $15,068.70 spent over 6 months. Notice the expenses are negative values, reflecting money going out, which when added to income gives the net balance of $32,800.25. This reinforces how filtering by transaction type and aggregating amounts provides a clear view of overall financial health. Grouping by calendar month, using the DT accessor, turns 6 months of individual transactions into 1 row per month. Part 4. Monthly summary. Running the cell now. DT2_period compresses each date down to just its year and month, a clean grouping key. Grouping by both month and type, summing amount, then unstack pivots the type labels out into their own columns, filling any empty combination with 0. We add a net column, income plus expense, since expense is negative, this is effectively income minus spending. We display the full monthly summary, rounded to 2 decimals. Running the cell now. This output summarizes monthly totals by transaction type, showing how expenses and income vary over time. Notice the negative values under expense represent money spent, while positive income values reflect earnings, and the net column combines these to reveal overall monthly profit. This highlights how grouping and aggregation transform raw transactions into meaningful financial insights for each month. Savings rate, net divided by income, is one of the most useful single numbers in any personal budget. Savings rate. Running the cell now. Dividing net by income, multiplying by 100, and rounding to 1 decimal gives a percentage savings rate for every month. We display just the 4 columns that tell the budget story. Running the cell now. This output shows the income, expense, net savings, and the calculated savings rate percentage for each month, with savings rate representing the portion of income saved. Notice how the savings _rate _PCT hovers around 65 to 71%, indicating a consistently strong ability to save relative to income. This calculation connects the net savings to income, giving a clear metric to evaluate financial health over time. Zooming into expenses only, by category, shows exactly where the money actually goes. We're building a real, usable budget report now, not just a table of numbers. If this is helping you, a subscribe helps a lot. Part 5, Category Breakdown. Running the cell now. We filter down to expense rows only. Grouping by category and summing, then ABS flips the negative totals positive, since how much did I spend reads better as a positive number, sorted from biggest expense category down. We display the ranked spending breakdown. Running the cell now. Here, we filtered the data to include only expense transactions and then aggregated total spending by category. Notice how rent is the largest expense, followed by utilities and groceries, highlighting key areas where most money is going. This breakdown helps us understand spending patterns, which is the main goal of this lesson section. Pivot_table puts months down the rows, expense categories across the columns, sums the amounts in each cell, fills any empty combination with 0, and ABS makes every value read as a positive spend. We display the full month by category spending grid. Running the cell now. This pivot table summarizes total expenses by category for each month, clearly showing how spending varies across categories like rent, groceries, and dining out. Notice that rent remains constant at $1,400.0 every month, while other categories fluctuate, highlighting the value of the pivot table in breaking down and comparing categorical spending trends over time. This aligns with the lesson's goal to analyze expense patterns by category. That single table answers which category is creeping up to far faster than scrolling through hundreds of individual transactions. A cumulative sum, applied to every transaction in date order, reconstructs a running account balance over time. Part 6, Running Balance. Running the cell now. We assume a starting balance of $2,000 before our tracked window begins. CumSum adds up every amount in order, and adding the starting balance turns that running total into an actual account balance after each transaction. We preview the final few transactions, watching the balance evolve. Running the cell now. This output shows the running balance column, which adds each transaction amount cumulatively to the starting balance of $2,000. Notice how the running balance decreases with each expense, reflecting the real-time impact of transactions on the account. This illustrates how running totals help track financial changes over time. A bar chart of monthly net and a chart of spending by category make the whole budget easy to scan at a glance. Part 7, Visualizing the results. Running the cell now. We import Matplotlib. Switching to the non-interactive AG backend so charts save cleanly anywhere. Then we import PyPlot. A figure and axis. We pick a color per bar, green for a positive month, red for a month that lost money. We plot monthly net as a bar chart, using those custom colors. A title. A y-axis label. A horizontal line at 0 makes it instantly obvious which months came out ahead. Tight _ layout keeps everything tidy. We save the chart. We release the figure. We confirm the save. Running the cell now. This output confirms that the bar chart visualizing the net income by month has been successfully saved as a PNG file. The visualization uses green bars for positive net income and red for negative, helping you quickly identify profitable and loss months. This step highlights the lesson's focus on effectively communicating financial trends through clear, color-coded plots. Opening the real saved chart directly, confirming it genuinely landed on disk exactly as it looked in the notebook. A new figure and axis for our second chart. We plot total spending per category, already sorted highest first, as a bar chart. A title covering the full 6-month window. A y-axis label. Tight underscore layout keeps everything readable. We save the chart. We release the figure. We confirm the save. Running the cell now. This output confirms that the bar chart showing total spending by category over 6 months has been successfully saved as an image file. The visualization highlights key spending areas, emphasizing which categories dominate your budget, aligning with our goal in this lesson to effectively communicate data insights through clear visualizations. Opening the real saved chart directly, confirming it genuinely landed on disk exactly as it looked in the notebook. Between the monthly net chart and the category breakdown, you can see both whether you're on track overall, and exactly where to trim if you're not. We covered a lot, so let's recap. Wrap up what you learned. Generating a realistic synthetic 6 months of income and expenses, then saving and reloading with to_CSV and read_CSV. Labeling income versus expense with np.where, based on the sign of a column. Monthly grouping with dt to_period, unstack, and a computed savings rate. Category breakdowns with Group B and a month-by-category pivot table. Reconstructing a running account balance with CumpSum. Color-coded, presentation-ready budget charts with Matplotlib. You went from raw synthetic transactions to a full personal budget report with a savings rate and running balance. If you want the next dataset in this series to land in your feed automatically, subscribing is the move. See you in the next one. Running the cell now.